We're Arsenal forever. We are Arsenal. Road to Wembley. We love Arsenal.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to FTB SPORTS, and we're doing a post-match reaction of the Arsenal versus Burnley. And it was a strange game, guys. Let's get into it. Let's start with Aziz. Let's go. What do you think? How do you feel about the performance?
Mate, that to me felt like a loss. Do you know that just summed up our season? Just to put it in a thing, that's just basically just summed up what our season has been all about. Do you know what I mean? I think we're the only team that can dominate a game and not win. And even though we are on top of them for throughout the game, I mean, yeah, they had their chances and stuff, but we should have killed the game off in the first half, to be honest with you. Do you know what I mean? We should have killed the game off. Every single player on that pitch was doing his part. When I was watching the game, I was thinking, okay, cool. I mean, early goal, all we need to do, get one more, and we put the game into, and it'll be such an easy game because Burnley were just going to keep coming at us. We just have to play around them. But, you know what the thing is? In the beginning, I was a very big critique, let's say, of Xhaka. He grew on me. I thought, you know what? This guy's actually becoming the player that we thought that he was at the beginning. Slowly, he's becoming that player. But then sometimes it makes you forget when he's having 2-3 good games that there's always something in the back of his mind that he will screw something up. And this was a typical Xhaka game. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you can't have the ball at that space or demand the ball and not be able to put it out of play. Or just put it out of play to kick it out. Do you know what I mean? There's so much space for you to kick the ball out. But what is he trying to curl it behind him, curl it over him? Do you know what I mean? This reminds me so much now of the Wolves game as well, where you dominate the game from the beginning and then you come up with nothing. Okay, a point is a point, but that just, for me, is a typical Arsenal performance and just sums up our season. You know that?
Agreed.
I kind of feel you're singling out Xhaka there, though, because I think Lano's got to take some blame as well.
Okay, Tony, what do you think? What do you think about how the game went?
I completely agree. I mean, for a change, we actually started the game well. We didn't concede early like we had done in recent games. And I thought, okay, here we go. You know, we might actually, push on from that. But, as he says, a mistake, and we just never got ourselves back into the game. Well, we did. Well, I mean, when Pepe come on, I think, he tried to drive us forward as much as he could. I thought it was brilliant when he came on. But, yeah, Leno, it's for me, it's both. It's Leno and Xhaka. I don't know what they're saying to each other, but it's basic football. You've got two of their players in the box. Get rid of the ball. As the goalkeeper, just clear it. That's all you need to do. Xhaka maybe calling for the ball, but he's got Vidra running up behind him quite quick as well. So it's mistakes that, again, that's cost us.
Absolutely agree. My take on it, it was a typical Arsenal performance for this season. I think there's a lot of players, and although they're professionals, and I shouldn't dismiss what they do, they're clowns. This is how you describe them, clowns. There's errors in them, and that is the difference between good and great players. Because you can play well for 6-7 games, but with Xhaka especially, I'm going to blame it on Xhaka. For me, it's all Xhaka, because he demands the ball. He says, play it to me, shine it and play it to me. And then he does some ridiculous kind of I don't even know what the hell he was trying to do. He had a mental image in his head. He's going to maybe spin it over the top of his head, but it was with his right foot. And he's to blame. Yes, Leno should not have passed it there, perhaps. But if you've got a player calling the ball, you're going to pass it there. And it's time and time again, he costs us points. And it's not like sometimes players have a bad game. But what I find unique about Xhaka is his mistakes actually lead to us losing or drawing games. Like, they're so like a red card or a misplaced pass or a penalty. He actually costs us games. And as well as he's been playing, we know his limitations. And we've seen today his ceiling. His ceiling is he's a good player. He will never be a great player, never be a great Arsenal player. And that was very evident today. I want to move on to the team selection. Do you think Arteta got it right?
I actually think he did,
Oh, okay.
I thought we all saw the team sheet and we saw Chambers there and we all gone, oh, really? But I think it turned into a bit of a masterclass, especially on that side, because Dwight Neal could get past him. Or Dwight McNeil, whatever his name is, sorry. And I think they've looked at Bellerin and they've looked at Cedric, and they've got weaknesses going down that side with them. And I think with Chambers, it kind of threw the spanner in the works. And without that mistake, we would have won 1-0. So
that's true. I thought it was based on a height. I think height was the biggest issue because you saw I think Cedric's 5'8" and Bellerin's 5'9". And the way they play long balls into the box, I think that would have just been, they would have targeted. And you've seen in the last couple of games, they've actually been targeting Bellerin especially because he's defensively a bit of a liability. What about you, Az? What do you think about the team selection? Are you happy with it?
Do you know what? Oh, this is one of those kind of games that you don't blame the manager for the selection of the team is there to beat Burnley 2-3-0. That team beats Burnley 2-3-0 if we play our normal game. I mean, if I would have made any changes, it probably would have just been to rest Saka and put Pepe there from the beginning. That's just basically thinking of Olympiacos midweek, because I would have preferred Saka. I mean, once we had a game, say we had the game 2-0, 3-0 in the back, 3-1, whatever, we could have brought Saka on at the end for 20 minutes, 15 minutes, just to give him a bit of a, stretch his legs a bit, But apart from that, that team should be beaten. That team should be beating Burnley. Let's not forget, Spurs were 4-0 up against these same team. They were 4-0 up last week. And I think before half time that was as well. Or 3-0 up in 20 minutes. So when you look at that, that game, I don't blame the manager. I don't blame the selection. I think it's just individual errors that cost us week in, week out. This is the reason why we've been conceding so early in games, because we can't switch on. And when we do switch on, we show the glimpses of how we can play. And then we shoot ourselves back in the foot again and then cause a lot of issues for stuff like this to happen. And then we wonder why we have these kind of situations, It's individual errors. Individual errors cost us massively. It's cost us all season. Yeah, that little 5-game run or 6-game run that we had in the beginning of the year seems like such a distant memory now. We scraped past a very poor Benfica team. Very, very poor Benfica team.
Individual errors again, though, to be fair.
Yeah. So this game sums up the season. This game sums up exactly what the Arsenal season is. And I'm not just going to say it was just the game. I think some of the refereeing decisions in this game cost us the 3 points.
We'll go on to that. I wanna. That'll be the next topic. The refereeing decisions and whether there is an agenda. That'll be the next one. But what I what are my observations about today? I think you're absolutely right. You can't blame the manager, because if they took their chances, it's one of those games where, similar to Benfica, we could have been 3-0 or 4-0 up in the first half, and we would have been saying, fantastic performance from the boys. But I found from Arsenal, they don't have that cutting edge. And the biggest issue we have is when Aubameyang doesn't score, or it seems like Pepe or Lacazette, we don't have goals from other places. And I thought that Saka today, as brilliant as he was, and he has his moments, he was slightly off the pace today, and he missed some good chances today. And he could have buried that, and he missed a glaring opportunity I can think of in the first half. And the thing is, you can't be overly critical of him, because he's been our best player for the season for me.
And he's still so young.
And he's still so young, so we can't put too much pressure on him. But for me, with the team selection, I think Pepe has to start. He has to start for me. You saw the difference when he came on.
Has to start.
Did you see the difference it made to the game?
Oh, absolutely.
It's when you have Pepe and Saka and Aubameyang on the same pitch at the same time. We need to find a way of making it work, because he's such a threat. They don't know, they panic, and I love it. Certain players have that effect. I remember back in the day, Henry, Eden Hazard, Cristiano Ronaldo's, when they get on the ball, he's not at that level yet. Let's not get twisted. I'm not comparing them, but I'm saying like certain players made defenders nervous. Did you see how they backed off him because they didn't want to get done on a turn or whatever? and he had to start. And the fact that you left it so late to bring him on is disrespectful to him. He won freaking man of the match
the thing
last game,
is,
and he was on the bench.
you know, the thing is, Burnley are a very defensive team. When teams like Arsenal, Spurs, United, these guys come to Turf Moor, they're very defensive team. They like to basically play long balls. Now, when you watch this game, you think to yourself, okay, cool. You're in there in the first 10 minutes or so, you see the pace, you've gone 1-0 up. And what do? You then go at him. You go at. We don't have players in that team that could go at him. I can think of Martinelli, Pepe, and possibly Willian and Aubameyang, the only players that can probably go at. Aubameyang has fell back slightly. I think he's lost a bit of pace. So that's why I would have started Pepe, because this would have been a game for Pepe that
Perfect.
he could have done really well in, based on the back of such an amazing performance he had against Leicester. Now, Leicester City are a completely different kettle of fish compared to Burnley, where Burnley, he could have made. Yeah, he missed 2 blatant chances himself. But I think Pepe starting the game from the kickoff would probably have buried those chances. So
I agree.
I don't know if he's one of those guys. If he's one of those guys that likes to start the game, get the feel, the pace of the game. I don't think he's the type of player that you bring him on for him to change the dynamic of the game. Because when you look at it, Burnley are defending. They're just defending because they know now they've got a 1 goal. Now they're level. For Burnley, they'll happily take the 1-1.
Absolutely.
So what do?
Yeah.
We just throw players. I mean, the amount of times we were throwing players, we almost got caught out, almost lost that game. If Leonard didn't make that save at the end. So I think that's the only thing I would have changed. I'm saying Saka has got so much credit in the bank for us now. Do you know what I mean? We can't even slate him for anything.
No, we can't.
Everybody has an
Agreed.
off game. He's 19 years of age. Do you know what I mean? I think we should have rested him, put Pepe on. We need to give Pepe a run, because if we don't give him a run, he's going to go back to the old Pepe again.
He is. And that's for me my biggest issue with Arteta. Like, when he lucked into, no ifs or buts or maybe, he lucked into playing the young players. It was COVID protocols forced him to not play Willian. Because if that wasn't the case, Willian probably would have played that game against Chelsea 1,000%. He found Smith Rowe, he found Saka's best position, and he found Martinelli, who's kind of like regressed a little bit. But he lucked into it. And you have a golden opportunity to show Pepe, look, you know what? You're our 3rd highest goal scorer. You played outstanding last game. You said so many positive things about it. Sees the team sheet, bruv, you're on the bench. Come on, bruv. Come on. That's disrespectful.
Especially how well he's been playing recently as well. It does baffle me. But then what also baffles me is there's a clause in Williams' contract saying he's got to play every single game, whether it's 1 minute or 12 or the full 90.
Is this true? I thought that was a hearsay. Is that actually true?
I don't know. I'm just asking the question.
Oh my god! If that's the case, that's a disgraceful contract.
Do you know what? I've read so many sources. I've read so many sources that say stuff like that. But I mean, to be honest with you, listen, I wouldn't be surprised with the kind of negotiators that we have up top. I wouldn't even really be surprised if that was actually a case. Do you know what I mean? But it's the truth, isn't it? I mean, you look at it and then you see the kind of players that we've sold, at what kind of prices we've sold them, how many players we had to pay off to get rid of,
to leave.
how many players we have.
That's why they got sacked. All of the old negotiation stuff, they all got binned, and they should do, because we gave out some of the worst contracts. You know why? Because no team in their right mind, they saw some of those contracts we had for the players we had, and they thought, like, Mustafi on 120,000. What? Hell no, I ain't paying that.
Yeah.
Next thing on the agenda, refereeing decisions. Is there an agenda against us? And first one, was it a handball, lads? What do you think?
Which one?
The first one.
That one was.
Okay.
You've seen them given.
Yes.
But then they have changed the handball rule, so I don't know what it is anymore.
It's not clear, is it?
I was just watching the. I was just listening to Martin Keown and these guys just a little while ago, and then so they were saying that basically last week was an incident that happened, and it was given a penalty. This week it's happened, and the Premier League have come back and said, oh, it was to do with proximity. Now, going back to the start of the season, Eric Dyer Newcastle got a penalty when Eric Dyer wasn't even looking at that direction.
Yeah.
He was looking the other way, and the ball hit him on the back of his hand. That was a penalty. This was a blatant penalty because his hands was here. So this, you're telling me this is not a natural. This is not a natural position.
It's not. It's not.
And the ball hits you, bang here, not here, or anywhere in the back of your arm, and he's looking at you, and you're telling me that's not a penalty. How many decisions have gone against us that the refereeing or the VR have come up with the most stupidest of excuse to play it down, and then you tell me that there's not an agenda against Arsenal? If this was not an agenda against Arsenal, that should be a penalty. 100%. If everybody, fans, social media melting down, the pundits, everybody's saying it's a penalty. If them guys are asking that is a penalty, why is not a penalty given? And you just come out and say, oh, it was to do with the proximity. If you don't give that as a penalty, that last one where it hit him off his shoulder, hit the bar, should have been a penalty. I'm not saying that was a penalty. I'm saying, do you know what? Just to sweeten it out, because you know we messed up. Let's just give that as a penalty and just bury it under the carpet. That would, even then, forget, fine, don't send him off. Give that as a penalty. Because how many times in games have we seen where a referee decision is so stupid that it should have been a pen, that's not given, but then he's given a penalty for something that is not a penalty at all. You know?
True.
That's just basically everything
It
they're
just
doing
feels like
to
it,
brush
yeah,
everything
it
under
feels
the carpet.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on, Tony.
No, I'm just saying it does feel like there's an agenda. You can look through all the incidents this season, and and the one that will always stick is the David Luiz one.
I was just about. You read my mind, mate. You read my mind. I don't know how professional referees can all review that, and they even had the referee watch and say that was a penalty. On what world is that a penalty? Literally. And the red card. If it was just a penalty, I would have taken it. But the red card as well, literally. And I saw the Bruno Fernandes stamp on Saka when that was nothing.
This
what's
is my
going
point.
on? What's going on?
This was exactly my point. How are you then with this incident not sending the person off, not showing them a straight red card? Why is it that it's so hard for these referees to go to VAR when it's Arsenal? Why is it that we can't forget going to the screen? Just even say it on his mic. Say, listen, at least have a check. Is it a penalty? Yes or no? I'll let the game flow. Tell me if it's a penalty. Then we can take it from there. If not, fine. If it is, we'll take it back. It's a penalty. Why is the thing is, I don't think it's the VAR that is the issue. It's the stupid referees, the incompetent people that are running VAR is the stupidness. And do you know what? One more thing I'm going to say about this, yeah? Do you know, it's going to come a time where big players are not going to want to come to the Premier League because of these stupid VAR stuff and these refereeing decisions. We're going to be stuck. We're going to keep falling in a pecking order because we can't get a subsided referee to come and referee a game. But pick him up off of a Conference League and bring him into Premier League. I guarantee you he will do a better job than these idiots that are doing right now.
I've said it, and I've said it time and time again. We have the worst quality of referees in the Premier League by a country mile. I watch mostly the French and German league and a bit of the Spanish. And the quality of refereeing is so much better than the Premier League. And the thing is, they have VAR now. And the guys in Stockley Park, they're literally paid to review decisions and use common sense and interpret the law as best as they can. And they still manage to mess up. You've got instant replay. You can slow it down. And the referees on field, go to the freaking screen. It doesn't matter how many times. Some of them, I think, they want the game to flow. They want the game to flow. No, get your lazy ass and go to the screen. And if he saw that, I'm telling you, if the referee on the field saw that handball, he would have given it. I don't know why. I think he would have given it, but he didn't even bother.
It's the fact they introduced this to, it's for clear and obvious decisions. But we're seeing a lot more than that.
Absolutely.
And again, who's in charge of all the referees at the moment? Mike Riley. This has been going on for a long time. Yeah, a long time.
Listen,
Mike Riley, Man United, 2004, whatever it was.
Mate, that is. Are you talking about the 49 game that Rooney dive? Are you?
It wasn't just that; it was the whole game, wasn't it?
It was the whole game. That game
Mate,
was one of the
you,
worst
you,
games,
you know
refereed games I've ever seen.
the thing is, yeah. Sometimes, when you think about these things and you look at it over and over and over again, and you just think to yourself, you are playing in the, I mean, let's just say the best league in the world. There's so many people watching this game, and you telling me the fans that apparently we're not supposed to know anything about these decisions and rules and all this can blatantly see what's going on. Why is it that it takes them so long to figure out what's happening? Why is it that no one can turn around and say to these people that, listen, what's going on? Why are we giving a penalty decision for the same thing last week and not giving it this week? Why is it? And then each week there's a different excuse for not giving a penalty. Every time there's a different excuse for different rule. Now I would love to see how big the rule book is on this VAR thing. Do you know what I mean? Or penalties or anything. Because you telling me if that was Leicester, if that was Man United, or if that was even Spurs, you telling me that's not a penalty.
Penalty.
That referee is blowing the whistle, showing him a straight red card and saying penalty. Yep.
Absolutely.
But for us, we don't even get the opportunity to turn around and say, do you know what? At least go and have a look at it. Okay, don't have a look
That's
at it.
what pisses me off.
At least
have a
speak.
look.
Isn't VAR supposed to be there for you to correct the errors that have been made on the field? Fine. Do you know, if that is the case, then yeah, fine, fair enough. Call them up and say, listen, I think I missed it. It happened too quick. Can you have a look at that for me? Your whole purpose of VAR is to basically slow down and give decision fairly. Tell me the one time Arsenal got a decision fairly. When can you remember the last time Arsenal had a decision that was fairly done by VAR?
Not recently. We've been screwed a lot. Here's something I want to discuss with you guys. It's been on my brain. Referees in the NFL,
I was about to say something about that.
yeah, in a lot of American sports, and especially rugby on this side of the pond, they're mic'd up and they state clear and obvious reasons why they've made a decision. I would prefer that. I want to hear from their mouths what was the rationale behind the decision, and that way I can find out if he's a cheating or not, because that way it's so clear. If he says, oh, I didn't see the handball, then we could be like, yo, bro, you need to check the monitor because it is clearly a handball. Or if he says there wasn't enough contact, then we can know he didn't see enough contact, but someone at the whatever else can, Stockley Park, can see it and say, yes, there was contact. So he can say what he thinks it is, and then we can say, okay, we can understand the rationale. That makes sense. But because there's kind of like an air of silence from referees, I just don't get it. And I start to think, is there an agenda? I think, would you prefer to hear what the referees were thinking?
Yeah, you're absolutely bang on. That's what we need. But don't have, it's like you said, in the NFL, they have a call, they turn their mics on, they turn to the crowd, the fans or whatever, and they say, this is what I've done. This is why I've called the foul, blah, blah, blah. That's what they need to do. It's because referees don't get interviewed after the game, so we still don't know.
It's true.
So that is the only way we're going to know.
This is exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, exactly. Go on.
Do you know, this is exactly what I was going to say as well, because do you remember the Lewis Dunk interview last week after they had after that crazy game that they had?
Yeah,
you know, that reminded me of that point straight away where he turned around and he said, you got me into it. Why can't you go and get him? Why can't you bring him on here and tell us why they're giving it that decision? Me personally, yeah, fine, fair enough. You can mic him up and say the reason why they do it because they're corrupt in there. They know what they're doing. They know who they're giving it to. Like Tony said, it's picking and choosing, innit? Oh yeah, do you know what? Golden boy. He drops down without even getting fouled. Let's give him a free box. Or he was on the line. Let's just say this. He was on the line like Pepe was last week. He was on the line, but apparently it was a free kick. That was Harry Kane. That's a penalty. Why can't referees come out and after the game and say, do you know what? This is the reason why I didn't even go to VAR. Oh, because it was this close? Oh, yeah, but you gave a penalty to some guy who wasn't facing the ball last week. Fulham got robbed of a penalty as well in midweek against Spurs. That was no way. How close was he?
No, that was the goal. It wasn't the penalty, it was for the goal.
For things like that. Yeah, that led to a goal. Do you know that led to a goal? Did you say the rule came out to be, because it was scored, because a goal was scored, that's why it was ruled out for a handball. So you're telling me if that wasn't ruled out, that would not be that. If that was no goal, that would not be a handball.
Absolutely.
So
Jason's made an interesting comment here. maybe it's also time to publish the ref match reports as well. I wouldn't mind seeing that. And I also think the refs need to be held accountable. I don't know what goes on behind the doors. I'm not entirely sure how it works, but I've been told that the refs, their matches are reviewed by other professional referees, and then they mark it in a point scoring system. So if they do really well, and there's a leaderboard, so whoever's done the best will get the biggest games and the most important games, and whoever's done the least will get the less important games, will go down to a different division. I think if someone makes an egregiously bad decision, they should just be struck off. I think the decisions that they make have multi-million-pound implications. The stakes are far too high. They need the best of the best of the best of the best. And we get foreign players, foreign managers, foreign staff, foreign coaches, foreign doctors. Why can't we get foreign referees? Why can't we cherry pick the best referees from all around the world and get them to come to the Premier League? I bet they'll be dying to come.
Because they know. Because they know. The thing is, they know these guys are not corrupt enough. If they make a decision, to go to VAR, then we say, oh, why are you going to VAR for? Because you know what? These referees are in a little bubble of themselves. They're all, very good mates. They're not going to make another referee look bad. If you make a decision and it's not, you know what? It's fine. Don't worry about it. Like that guy. What's that referee that comes on BT Sports all the time?
Oh, I hate that guy, man.
Peter Walton or whatever his name is. Yeah.
Oh,
he comes on.
Don't get me started on that guy.
What's his name? Peter Walton.
He backs every referee. It's like a cult.
Comes on. And have you ever?
Gallagher's another one.
This is my point. Have you ever seen him come out and say, "Do you know what? He got that slightly wrong." If it was me, I would have maybe checked it out, or either got him to go and have a look. It's not. Referees have got their own bubble. Referees are in their own bubble. They have to back each other because they will know if I give you a decision, and and if I didn't pull you up on it, then it just causes a bit of issues, isn't it? Right now, this is what it is. We're in such a situation right now with the referees that every week there's a VAR situation. And we're 28 games into 25, 26 games, 27 games into the season now. So you tell me from the first time on the first when I think from the first day of the season, it's constantly been happening, and you cannot review it. You cannot review this to say, listen, there's so much crap that's going on. We need to do something because we're going to start losing players. Players are not going to want to come to this league. We're going to start losing fans to different leagues because of what's going on the pitch. And the thing is, when the referee is the person who gets called out the most, the game wasn't as bad. I mean, we have been robbed by at least 9 to 12 points this season on refereeing decisions.
I'm not going to blame all the referees. I think it's stupidity as well. A lot of stupidity has been involved with our players. There's a bunch of clowns, like I said before. Some of our players have made some ridiculous decisions, like headbutts, trips, late fouls. Like we can't put it all on the referees. Some of our players have been absolutely shocking.
Doesn't help.
They just exactly. And one last thing on the referees before I move on. What I find very annoying is, when they have those referees to come in and talk about things, they will never say, they'll say, no, that was never a wrong decision. They'll say, based on the interpretation of the rules of the why can't you just say that he was wrong? Why can't you just say that?
They do. That's what they do. That's what they do. Yeah.
It's basically based on the rules. And he asked him, but do you think it's a penalty? And he goes, but based on interpretation of the. I'm like, you seriously can't even acknowledge that? This is why they literally bring you on BT Sport to give your opinion.
The closest you'll get is I would have done this, but I can see why. He's done that.
It's nonsense. Okay, so final question I have for you guys is, what does a good season look like for Arsenal now, based on where we are? Because I think the top 4 hopes. I know we still all had little slim hopes.
Yeah, there's no choice.
I think that's over now. What is a good season for us? What can we hope for? What's a good season for us? Tony, you go first.
Europa.
Okay.
We have to win it. If we want to play European football next season, although I don't think we're quite ready for the Champions League, it has to be Europa.
Okay.
League position, I just want to finish as high as we can. We finished 8th last season, so hopefully it could be 8th or higher, but I just, at this moment in time, I just can't see it.
Okay, what's a good season for Arsenal now?
Yeah, I mean, Tony's basically said it. Do you know what I mean? Europa is the thing. And when you look at the couple of performances that we've had, I don't see why we can't win the Europa League. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
We've shown it before when we had the FA Cup. You know, we've shown it before then, and I still, I mean, a part of me says, you know what, it might be too much to ask for with the individual errors that we create for ourselves. The problems that we create for ourselves are the ones that thing is going to be our downfall. If we get everybody clued on, if we get everybody fit for the game and everybody playing at the top level, then we can beat anyone in that Europa in the Europa League. Because look, at the end of the day, there's going to be teams in the Europa League that are not going to want to play Arsenal. That they're not going to want to play us. They're going to be like, you know what, we want to avoid them and have a Tottenham instead. Do you know what I mean? So they are going to be teams because look, at the end of the day, when it comes to cups and stuff like this, we've got that, you know, like the cup pedigree. We have that. We know about these things, and you know, we know how to go about. It's just the only thing that will let us down is going to be ourselves. If I'm being 100% honest, because I know we can beat Olympiacos, we just got to take our chances. In terms of the league, like Tony said again, we just got to go game by game. You know, we got to finish as high as possible. I still believe we can, because from where we are to, it's about 4 points, I think it is. I mean, to be honest with you, it would have been 3 if we would have won today. You know, 4 or 5 points, we are off the top 6. If we can get into Europa again, you know, that probably be a good season. I would say that as a progress. You know, I as long as we finish on a high, you know, like none of these stupidness and refereeing decisions and things like that, we can still finish high. I still believe, I still think he'll do a great job. We just need to back him. You can see the kind of things that he's trying to do. A couple of the games, as you said as well, couple of the games that we've had where we haven't had the best of results is based on the players, individual errors, players just being stupid, red cards and stuff like that. Because you cannot set out a team, you know, in the first 5 minutes you concede, your plan is just out window, and then you try to come up with another plan, and you know everything falls back. And then for him having his one full season now, you know, we have to back him. We know what he's trying to do. Look how much of the dead wood he's got rid of for us. He's going to get rid of, I'm guaranteed he's going to get rid of a lot more now come the summer. We're just going to have to rebuild. We're going to have to rebuild with Arteta. And I think he'll be a good, once he gets his team exactly the way he wants, I think that would be our, you know, we can then set off again from there. But at the moment, it's just Europa for me, man. We have to make something out of it.
Okay, well, for me, a good season for us is to figure out who needs to remain with the Arsenal squad and who doesn't. Because the Europa League is a cup competition. Obviously, I hope we can win it. We know our track record in the Europa League. Galatasaray, Chelsea is not the greatest in the final. So let's just say that. But I hope we win it to get some Champions League football, even though I don't think we're ready. I think the Premier League is a complete write-off. I don't think we're going to make the top. We're going to get any of the European places, and I'm just being honest. So what I think he needs to do now, Arteta, if he still wants to be in this job, is figure out who we need to keep and who we need to move on. So that means start playing some of the youngsters. Let's see Nelson. What has he got? Let's give Balogun a run. Let's see what he's got. Let's see, because I think the league is pretty much a write-off. Let's see who's worth keeping and who needs to get going. Like Chambers played today, which is good. Let's see what he's got. Give a few other of the youngsters a little run in the game. It's time to start building for the future, because Arteta, for me, if he doesn't win the Europa League, he needs to be gone. He needs to go. Some of his decisions this season I've not agreed with. He made the team significantly weaker. He got rid of Ozil, and I think he had something to offer. He got rid of Saliba. He got rid of Guendouzi. He got rid of Lucas Torreira. He's made the squad weaker. And when you look at that midfield at times this season, and it's just El Nini and Dani Ceballos, and I think he made some wrong decisions, some really, really bad decisions.
Yeah, I mean,
and as a top manager, we can't accept finishing 10th or 9th. We just can't. And as good as he is, what potential he has, you can't finish 10th with Arsenal. And if any other top club had a manager finishing 10th, they'll be out that door. So if he doesn't win the Europa Cup, he needs to go.
The thing is, yeah, when it comes to when it comes to Arteta, you know, I mean, I probably wouldn't sack him now. I mean, I probably would give it this summer and see
I mean,
what
at the
he
end
can
of
do.
yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what I
you
mean.
can
At the end of the season.
everybody knew what the Ozil situation was. Ozil didn't get and as a fan, I would say Ozil was way out of his hands because it was nothing to do with football. Ozil situation. Now, the Saliba baffles me still because to me, I think he's such a good prospect. Saliba is. You see him in the French league, and you think
I
you
watched
see him in
him.
the French league,
I've watched all his
and you
games.
think
And
kind of-
I've watched him as well, and I don't agree with you. I don't
I
agree.
personally think Saliba would. You know what? I think he'll be very good for us. Now, overall, you know, to sum it up, I would just say, listen, we just need to get rid of so many players. You know what I mean? And to ask you guys a question, I'm assuming you both play FIFA as well, right? How many times do you guys,
Pro Evolution.
you know, do you guys
Yeah, I'm
beat
Evo as
Arsenal
well.
in there and in a career mode? In a career, I mean, let's put it this way: as Arsenal fan base, how many people are there that play FIFA that are Arsenal in a career mode and sell everybody? Do you know what I mean? Just by looking at things like that, you know how much shit we've got in that club. How much we can't negotiate contracts. We can't sign players because we don't want to pay the money. We've got an owner that doesn't really he gives two shits about this club. Do you know what I mean? And he's not going to sell. He's not going to sell this club. You know, because he's sitting up there, you know, thinking to himself, you know what? Whether we finish here, yeah, we sneak in an FA Cup and stuff, we get a little bit of money in, pump it straight back into his Rams team. Do you know what I mean? These kind of things you look at, so you know the club from the top all the way down. You know what I mean? There's so much wrong. Do you know what I mean? So all I want is to have my football club back. That's it. Do you know what I mean? I don't give a shit who's sitting on the top, who's managing the club, and you know what players we have. I just want the Arsenal back that are challenging, that can basically, you know, every season that can challenge or even get in a trophy. Because, like you said, for Arsenal Football Club to finish 10th, you know what I mean, with the likes of West Ham, Aston Villa, Leicester, all these teams above you. Do you know what I mean? And scoring goals. They've scored 45, 50. We've scored 30 goals, 34 goals this season.
Arteta's not the
Do you
right
know?
man, but
We
Tony.
could probably.
Sorry, Tony. Sorry, Az. Tony, I think you didn't agree with the Arteta. You think Arteta's the right man, or
there's a lot you got to take into account. There's a lot of stuff, you know, behind the scenes that is beyond his control. I believe there's players that he wants that he can't get. I think he's trying his best to what he has got. What he is doing is slowly getting rid of the deadwood, and I'm hoping he does that in the summer. I don't think he should leave even if we don't win Europa, to be honest.
finishing 10th, is that good enough?
No, of course it's not. But the way
who does that fall on? Any other major European side, would he still be employed next season? Be honest. I'm talking about Dortmund. I'm talking about Bayern Munich. I'm talking about PSG. Would any other top European side have a manager that finished 10th remain next season? Be honest.
But the problem is that we haven't got a board that has the backbone of those teams.
Okay, that's fair.
And they don't they don't supply the funds that we need to reach that level. I think I'm seeing what the project is. I mean, look, I'm going to be honest with you. During that bad run when we were like 15th, I was Arteta out because it was more of a reactionary thing. I'm seeing Spurs top of the league, beating Man United 6-1. I'm seeing all that. So I was kind of like, nah, I can't have that. But I've given myself time to think about everything, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch. And I think we need to give him a bit more time. Give him one more season.
Okay, that's fair. All right then, lads. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Travis.
Okay, go for it.
Sorry, I was going to ask you. Just want to put this thing in. Just lastly, regarding the managers, you see, the thing is, as Tony said, our board is the backbone. How much did Arteta cost Arsenal? How much did it cost him? £6 million.
I thought it was 3 million. I thought it was even cheaper than that.
I think. I mean, either way,
right.
that's Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho at Spurs is earning 15 million. Carlo Ancelotti is on 18 million.
Mhm.
You know, if you look at those kind of managers with the CV, yeah, as I would say it, Arteta's a perfect option because he's new into his managerial role. You can see what he wants to do. You know, the thing is, I don't even think it's because he's played for Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? It's because Arteta has seen what's happened at Arsenal. He was there. He knows what's happened there. I think what he's trying to do, he knows who's good enough for this club and who's not good enough for this club. They're talking about giving him another 2 years extension on his contract. Yeah, which I mean, again, this is news that broke yesterday. They are looking to give him a 2-year extension on his current deal. This is come by the talks of, you know, when he was linked to Barcelona, apparently.
Mhm.
When he was linked to Barcelona, the news came out that Arsenal are willing to extend his contract by another further 2 years. You know what? I don't have a problem. Fair enough. I don't have a problem with it, right? My expectation is you're going to get a contract. You're going to need to give him the money. You can understand why Frank got sacked. He spent 350 odd million pound and he was free falling after the Arsenal game. I mean, if
In
the
Frank's
board
defense,
gave
he was
Arteta
suspending it though.
250 million. Sorry?
No. With Frank, I think Chelsea have a certain way of signing players. I think Frank wasn't really involved. I think they had their transfer targets, and they're like, "Here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go." I think he's kind of let it leak that he had other preferences, and the board, you know, they've got their director of football who makes the decision. So, a lot of the players weren't players he
You know
asked
what?
for.
If our board gave us those players at Arsenal,
Mhm.
I wouldn't even be complaining. They picked up pretty much 4 or 5 of the best prospects in Europe and said, "Here you go." Now, if you're going to do that, you're going to be like, "Okay, cool. You know what? It's going to maybe take me 6 months or so to, you know, these players gelled in, obviously, because we didn't have a preseason this year." But do you know what? They were free falling quite badly. If they didn't, if Lampard was there, I'd probably think they'll be 10th, 11th right now with the same team. But
Mhm.
I mean, but do you know the thing is, we just gotta back the man. I mean, that's what it is. Whether he costs 6 million or 3 million or 8 million, we just gotta back him until he's there. At the end of the
He
day,
does have too much
he
faith.
represents our football. Do you know what I mean? We just gotta
We're
look at
not
it
as big
in a
as we
way
used to
that
be. That's the reality. That's the harsh and sad reality of it. We're not as big as we were.
Absolutely, but I've seen
do you know what?
the Premier League table shows clubs have done more with less resources than Arsenal, and that is a testament to the performance of not only the players but the manager. Because clubs with less resources are high up the table, and that's a reflection of not just the team; that's a reflection of the manager for not getting it right. So, you know, I'll give him to the end of the season. Then after that, we're going after his head. Arteta out.
Are you getting in?
I'll
Who would you
take Brendan
take?
Rodgers.
Who would you bring in?
I'll take Brendan.
You will go. You'll be in the Champions League with Leicester.
You're probably right. All right,
Do you
then,
know what?
lads.
A lot of people have said you dangle the carrot at him and he'll come. But I very much doubt Brendan Rodgers. Do you know what? Look at the owners that they've got, man. Do you know what I mean? Look at the owners that they've got. You know, they back managers. They if Brendan Rodgers wants the particular player, they'll be like, oh, okay, fine. Like Arsenal will be linked to that Celtic striker, Edouard.
He's going to go there.
Yeah.
He's
But
gonna go there.
we were told 25 million. Now Brendan Rodgers and Leicester are also linked, but they've told him 15 million. Do you know what I mean? But would you sign for Leicester or would you sign for Arsenal right now?
I still sign for Arsenal, but I'm biased
Put it this
clearly.
Can't answer that question.
No. Of course you would. I mean, I know he would as well. I know for sure he would as well. Young French striker, looking up to likes of Thierry Henry, you know, and all these great players that played for this club. Do you know what I mean? Of course he's going to want to come here. But I think in terms of manager, we probably got the best that we can get because there's nobody else. Because apparently I heard Allegri was there at the interview table and he said, I want this. Can you give me this? Can you give me the full control of the transfer window? Can you give me the money? They said to him, unfortunately, we can't. And he picked up his bag and he walked. Who else are we going to attract? We had Mourinho at the stand 2 games running with our head of recruitment before Arteta came. What was he there for? He wasn't there just to watch the game. You know, he came there because he was one of the candidates to come. But you know what? fine, fair enough. He didn't get the job. I mean, 15 million pounds Spurs are paying him. I mean, how far are they above us? You know, so I'm glad we didn't get Mourinho. The only manager I personally think that we should get is the Leipzig guy. I think if he can come, someone young, someone with a bit of hunger, someone shows a lot of passion, I think he'll probably be the next option. Poch would have been the third option.
Mickey Mouse League. The German league's a Mickey Mouse League. But I don't think he'll come to Arsenal because I think I hate to say it, but that's a downgrade. He's in the Champions League. And they're doing far better than we are. I mean, anyone who comes to Arsenal knows they've got a rebuild job on their hands. And like aging superstars, it's a hard job and a few young talent, so it's hard. But on that note, guys, thank you very much for joining us, everybody, and we'll catch you soon. Peace out.
Pleasure.
Take care, guys.
Take care.